This is Gregory Brown with RMUnicorn, the Ruby Mendicant University video log, and I'm here again with Jordan Byron, who's doing our technology coordination for the project. So today's another tech update, and we'd like to show a little bit of what we've been working on so far, and then we'll talk a little bit about our plans for the future. So, Jordan, you want to get started with that?
Yeah, so we're going to have to pull the camera in a little close, so I apologize for the transition. But we've got some stuff to show you, which is very exciting. Alright, looks good. So the first thing that we have to talk about is a new logo that we've designed for RMU. This is it. This is the new logo that we've created. Greg and I are both pretty happy with it. The students really seem to enjoy it. You can tell we're kind of taking a more abstract idea of the Ruby. It's a Ruby that's not all the way finished cutting. That hasn't been cut all the way. You know, we've still got the cut to make there, and we think it's quite appropriate because the students are not quite, you know, the Rubyists they want to be yet. So we're hoping that RMU can help them become that, and this logo kind of encompasses that. And obviously the pretty ruby red. That's the whole idea behind it. Greg, you want to say anything about the logo? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because that wasn't an intentional design decision at first, but then when we noticed it, we thought, wow, it's sort of neat, you know, it's sort of a almost but not quite complete Ruby, and you know, that's actually the name of the trainings that I teach commercially, is Complete Rubyist, but that's sort of the goal with RMU as well, is to help people complete their Ruby skill set. So the missing edge there sort of perfectly symbolizes that.
So that's the new logo, so you'll start seeing that pop up all over the place. We've got it on the website, and the next thing we're going to talk about is the actual website itself, the design. This is our old dashboard that we had. You can tell we had these sort of the collegiate blue and gold set up here, and everything was kind of a mess. We weren't too happy with it, but it was functional, and that's what we were going for. We've been working the past couple days since the last update, and we're proud to announce that we have a new dashboard, which is pretty slick. We kind of lost our colors, but we think that overall the design is better. You can see we've added, you know, gravatar and names, and this new layout is nice because it allows us to add information. Like you can see here, instead of the IRC channel taking up the entire block, we have IRC channels all by themselves with just a little bit of context, and then we have assignments for students so they can see where they stand on their assignments. We've also pulled in the RMU blog so you can see the last couple of posts that Greg has put on his blog about RMU. Those come up there, and this University Web News is more of a placeholder, but that could be anything else. And we're pretty excited to see, you know, if students enjoy it. And we've also added a little logo up here.
So I think that one thing this is really going to help with is through the active course, we actually run a number of assignments in parallel, and in the future we're also going to add the meeting times and things like that into this view. But what's nice is you can't really see it here because we don't have the data in there, but what the September students can see if they log in, and what the October students will get by default, are all of the assignments are listed with their statuses, and we're going to add the due dates there. And you can see whether your assignment was received, that I saw that was submitted, or whether it's been approved and that sort of thing. And when we have assignments that have overlapping due dates, it's pretty useful to have that sort of thing, especially because it's sort of a non-linear thing where we might have to go back and adjust something later or something like that. So one thing that this dashboard will really do once we finalize it is it'll make it so that all of the information that these students need will all be in one place while they're taking their courses, which is something we've missed out on a lot so far. People have to go through mailing list posts, GitHub, README files, wikis, and IRC stuff and things like that. This will be a place where we can centralize the experience, which will make it easier for me to manage and easier for the students to work with. So while this is the first step, it's really heading in the right direction. And
it's a vast improvement over our old dashboard, so we're pretty excited. The next thing is kind of lame, but it's our new login page, and both Greg and I are super excited about this because it's gone through so many iterations, and we finally came out to something that we're both quite proud of. Obviously featuring the new RMU logo, and we've got some inline labels and pretty little buttons, but the simplicity and the statement it makes when you first come to the website, because this is our only public-facing page on the website right now, so we wanted to make sure it didn't look completely horrible. So we're both pretty happy with this. And I I think that's all I want to talk about with that, so we'll pull this back. So those are the things we had to show you. I think for the rest of the video, Greg and I just wanted to talk about some of the features we talked about last week and kind of hash out some more ideas that we want to talk about. So one of the things we mentioned last week was the directory listing, so students can see other students in their classes. I think one of the things we wanted to probably put in there and elaborate on that is we'll add in the Gravatar icon, add in their alumni status so they can see that kind of stuff in the badges. Is there anything else you were thinking that we could put in there?
Well, for the directory listing, it's sort of like a student roster sort of thing. So this is actually fairly important because we've got students that need to contact each other. During the sessions, we actually assign peer reviews so that the students need to be able to find each other and that sort of thing. And the students also run some sort of extracurricular programs, and it would be nice for them to be able to find each other. So in addition to the directory listing, we were talking about adding the groups feature, so that either we can create or actually any of the students can create groups and then put them together and that sort of thing. So I don't know, we should be thinking about that, but I guess the idea was that if a student wants to know what other students are involved in or how to contact the other students, it should be really easy for them.
Yeah, and I think we also wanted to open up the students' profiles too, so they can add some customization, so the students can kind of build up their own RMU identity almost, so they can put their Twitter account and their GitHub link and everything, so other students can go and check out just what the other student's working on, what they're tweeting about. I'm sure we could even add, if they have a blog, we could put a link on there, almost sort of like, a community-based page. I hate to say a Facebook-like page.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really want to, it's, okay, so, I mean, in a true sense, it would be representing a social network, but it's more like, I guess it's more about organizing that information instead. So it's more like, I'm thinking of it more like how you would use a phone book or something like that.
Yeah.
But a certain amount of it should be discoverable. That would be nice. And I was even thinking about whether or not we want to offer public profiles for people. It might be interesting to allow people to access, make it so that it's optional for the students, but that if the student says they have a public profile, then they'd be listed on the public directory. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of like that RMU has sort of this internal community, and that the public-facing things, I think, mainly should be like the alumni site and things like that.
And the resource list, stuff like that.
But I don't know. This is something maybe we should have a conversation with the students about and see what they would want.
Yeah. And the other big sphere that I think people are going to be interested in is the public-facing area. And I just mentioned the resource list and the alumni list, and we just talked about that. I think we also wanted to start bringing in the philosophy behind RMU and having some resources so people can come in and say, well, what is RMU? What are these crazy guys trying to do? Giving me free education. So people can come in and see exactly what's happening. So I mean, that whole process is going to be quite the undertaking. A lot of content creation there.
Yeah, I've tried to decide how much of this. I still haven't decided how much of this philosophy should be directly on RMU, and then how much of it should actually be on the free education institution that we're going to produce. It's sort of the problem that we're having is the difference between GNU and the Free Software Foundation. So, GNU is the actual project where they're trying to build the Unix implementation and all of that sort of stuff. And then there's the Free Software Foundation, which is sort of the philosophical arm about it. But at the very least, we need to have very strong and very direct back references from RMU to another site.
Sure.
But I think we're definitely going to need stuff about, like, I would definitely like to have something written up about how we're teaching and the sort of style and that sort of thing. So we've been doing like those 5 factors of education improvements. I think we should put something up about that. But then about the philosophical stuff, maybe that's when we start talking about the whole other site, which is... Right,
that's a whole other...
And another thing that's tough about that is once you get to there, that's a totally different audience, because we're not approaching necessarily programmers anymore. So it is an undertaking. But the thing that I'm really excited about, and maybe we can roll this in some sort of limited capacity in our future is getting the alumni list up.
Yes.
Because I would really like to make it easy for people to get access to the individual projects and the students.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe sort of as an alpha version of the site, we can just try and get that alumni list up.
Yeah.
Maybe a one-pager saying what the
School's
site's
about.
about. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that would be a big help to have that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
On the administrative front, we're doing a lot of little things here and there. That's been progressing along, but there's probably not anything super exciting to talk about.
No, farm cleanups and stuff, so it's nothing much, but it's happening.
So, was there anything else that we wanted to talk about?
I think that was we hit the heavy hitters. I think that we wanted to discuss.
All right. Well, I mean, hopefully, what you can see is the stuff that we showed you today is all work that's been done in the last 2 days. When I said that Jordan would be actively helping us out and being involved, he is, and we'll have even more to talk about next Tuesday, I hope.
Yeah.
And also, John, why don't you turn the camera around and show yourself a tiny bit?
No, I'll just go inside.
Okay. So,
Our camera woman.
Hi.
this is my wife, Ja, and she actually is going to be the sort of third founder for the RMU / the free education movement stuff that we're doing. She's been helping us out quite a bit with administrative stuff, helping us with videos, just doing the sort of miscellaneous tasks that are still falling on the floor. So I just wanted to introduce her to say that RMU came from literally one blog post of an idea that I wanted to do as sort of a side project to something that now has 3 dedicated people working on it. And hopefully that means that it's a sign that we'll be able to carry it on moving forward.
Nice.
So,
Excited?
first, I would definitely like to say thanks to both John and Jordan, and if you get a chance, try to thank them as well, because it's really great to see my vision start to come into reality. I'll be back again tomorrow with a video. I think I'm going to talk, what was the third thing, the third factor? Maybe we'll talk about free availability tomorrow and the importance of that, and maybe I can actually put my money where my mouth is, so to speak, and get some of our resources released tomorrow in line with that video.
Yeah, very good.
All right, thanks.